Tig?
Eric, do you have any favorite Halloween memories?
If I have a favorite Halloween memory, it probably dates back to the late 70s, early 80s. There was this strange costume trend. They were these strange inflatable things that went on top of your head, the kid's head. So it was like this thing that got strapped to your head, and then it was like a big pumpkin or something like that. It was ridiculous.
I have no. We're around the same age, and I have no memory of that.
Yeah, they were the worst things ever. I was mortified and embarrassed by them. And I think there's one existing picture of us in these costumes,
Oh
and
my
they're just
God.
awful. They're absolutely terrible.
I remember one year, I think it was 10 or 11. I think Halloween fell on a Saturday, and I just remember we went from 1 p.m. till about 11 p.m. And
Wow.
I just remember the trips back and forth to the house, dumping your pillowcase on the table and like running back out to like fill your pillowcase back up again. And it was like we did the whole neighborhood. It's the only time we ever got the whole neighborhood, and it was just just one of those memories of all the candy and getting sick for weeks eating all that stuff.
Like the most epic trick or treat that you ever had.
What would be your weapon of choice when trying to escape a haunted house?
Oh, that's pretty good. I tend to be a blunt instrument kind of guy. So if I wasn't going to go with something sharp such as a machete, then I would go with the baseball bat. Machete's pretty good because it's short. So if you're in a house, it's you're not going to be banging up against walls. You can get some good movement and you can chop.
Right.
But I think I would go with the bat though, because again, like a nice 32-inch Rawlings, that's a good length. It's short. It's I can get some good action with that. I like blunt attacks too. And if you're in that house, you don't want like a sword or a spear or
Right.
I mean I guess you can have a gun, but I'm not as much of a a gun guy. Knife would probably be better for close quarters, but I don't think I have it in me to stab something.
I was gonna say proton pack, but that doesn't really exist.
I mean, I think you could. I think for the sake of this, I think you could choose that.
I'm gonna go with proton pack.
That's pretty good. Then we would make a good team because I can handle like the physical creatures, and then you would be able to handle like the ghosts and stuff.
Yeah, I'd be able to like take them out while you're like hitting zombies. I'm sucking up ghosts.
Because obviously the bat wouldn't do any good against like apparitions.
Right.
Yeah, so all right, we're gonna make a great team.
Who's the king of '80s horror, Krueger or Jason?
Oh man, I
It's
mean
a tough one.
that is a tough one.
I could give you like my okay. I'll tell you mine first, and then we'll see if this like sways you in any way.
Yeah, go with yours. I already have my answer, and my answer is not who I prefer,
Right.
but rather it's for the question. So let's see,
Right.
but you go ahead and do yours first.
I would go with Krueger, with Freddy, because both of them can kill you and stuff, but Freddy kind of screws you that you can't get away from him even when you're sleeping, so you get no break. So
Right.
even if you find a place to hide, say like with Jason, if you found a place where you could hide and fall asleep, you couldn't do that with like Freddy because you're running away all the time, and then even if you get away and then you start to fall asleep, he comes and gets you anyway.
Yeah, that's not my reasoning, but that is ultimately who I chose, even though I prefer Jason.
Right.
And I think I have to go with Freddy because the question is specifically 80s, right?
Right.
And Freddy's a little more over the top. He's kind of like a little tongue-in-cheek goofy. Not a little, I mean sometimes he's a lot tongue-in-cheek goofy. But he's kind of like, there's almost something sort of super villainish about him.
Right.
As opposed to where Jason is just, Jason just quietly stalks and hacks. Jason feels almost like a leftover from 70s horror.
Yeah, I guess he really is, right? Jason is way more 70s than Freddy.
Yeah, I guess Jason got goofier later with Jason Takes Manhattan and stuff like that.
Right.
But like the original trilogy stuff is more to me like a little more in the vein of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, whereas Freddy is like just that over the top 80s like craziness about him. Like when I think of the 80s, I think of MTV, and Freddy is the MTV horror villain.
Yeah,
So,
especially after the first one.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think it's got to be Freddy, even though I prefer Jason. For people who like to check out the origins of horror and slasher movies and stuff like that. I've co-authored 2 books on the films of Alfred Hitchcock, A Year of Hitchcock, 52 Weeks with the Master of Suspense, and Hitchcock Villains, Murders, Maniacs, and Mother Issues. Both of them are available at fine bookstores everywhere and on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Target and et cetera, et cetera. And if you'd like to see some of the, some stuff about the darker side, the early dark side of film, specifically the slasher genre having to do with like Psycho and stuff like that, check them out.
And check out our YouTube channel, The Attic Dwellers.
Absolutely.